He was missing a tooth, his skin was in bad shape, and he was forced to have lip sync. It was sad for most of his fans to witness.
I was so wild to even, my mother used to say, Richard, please don't do that, darling.
And as we kept going, you could see the faces of people crying, and it was just so sad.
What happened to these gay soul artists is just awful. Most of them lived at a time that was very dangerous to be gay, black, and famous. From Sylvester, who lit up the 70s disco scene, but faced a lot of discrimination for being openly gay.
So Sylvester, I thought you were a woman. What is he wearing, and what is he singing?
To Donny Hathaway, an artist for whom the pressure, the secrets, and the mental health struggles were so heavy that it ended in tragedy.
One of the things the psychiatrist mentioned was that he felt that Donny felt that Layla could see through him.
And who could forget little Richard? He too was punished for expressing his sexuality, so much that he had to live in denial. Let's dive into the tragic stories of soul music's most misunderstood gay icons, and the pain they carried in silence.
So Sylvester, I thought you were a woman. What is he wearing, and what is he singing?
Sylvester was a boy who loved to sing. As a child, he sang in the church choir and really enjoyed gospel music. Singing made him feel happy and free. But even though he loved the church didn't love him back. The people there didn't accept him because he was gay. Many churches, especially in black communities, believed only in traditional families, a man and a woman with children. So when Sylvester showed who he really was, they pushed him away. This made him feel very lonely and unwanted. After leaving the church, Sylvester found new people who understood him. He met others who also didn't feel accepted, like cross-dressers and transgender women. They formed a group called the Disquotes. These friends treated him with kindness. They accepted him just as he was. For the first time, Sylvester felt like he belonged. He could laugh, sing, dress how he wanted, and be himself without fear.
I really don't think there's been anybody else that has made an entrance like him. Maybe Diana Ross.
Sylvester was proud to be gay, even when it was not safe. In the 1960s, he had a boyfriend named Rick Cranmer. Sylvester loved to wear women's clothes, even though it was against the law in California at the time. Police could arrest someone just for dressing differently, but Sylvester didn't hide. He sometimes hitchhiked in dresses, taking a big risk. He was lucky never to get caught, but he knew the danger was always there. Still, he refused to stop being himself. As Sylvester became more famous, he still had many struggles. People in the music industry didn't always respect him. Some black people also looked down on him because of his sexuality. He worked hard to be seen as more than just a gay singer. He was a true artist with a powerful voice and a big heart. He made music that people danced to and loved. In the mid-1980s, tragedy struck. His boyfriend Rick became very sick. He had HIV, a disease that later turned into AIDS. There was no medicine to help back then. In September 1987, Rick died. Sylvester was deeply hurt. He knew he might be sick too, and he was. In 1987, doctors told him he had AIDS.
And as we kept going, you could see the faces of people crying, and it was just so sad.
Even after this, Sylvester stayed strong. He still performed and spoke up about the illness. He wanted people to know the truth and stop the hate. But sadly, Sylvester passed away in 1988. He left behind music, memories, and a legacy of courage. Next, Donny Hathaway.
Yes, this is the ghetto, y'all.
Donny Hathaway was a very talented singer and songwriter in the 1970s. In the early part of that decade, he made a lot of music and was known for his deep, emotional voice. Even though he seemed successful, he was going through a lot of pain on the inside. He was married and had children, but he was also hiding the fact that he was gay. Back in those days, being openly gay was not accepted by many people, and this secret made his life harder. It caused him a lot of stress and sadness. In 1973, Donny released an album called Extension of a Man. Even with all his problems, the album had hopeful songs. One song, called Someday We'll All Be Free, stood out. The lyrics were written by his friend Edward Howard. Edward wrote it to give Donny strength and remind him to hold on. The song tells people not to give up when life feels hard. It talks about staying proud, staying strong, and believing that better days will come. Many fans didn't know that this song was a message to Donny, telling him to keep going and not lose hope. During this time, Donny was diagnosed with a mental illness called paranoid schizophrenia.
One of the things the psychiatrist mentioned was that he felt that Donny felt that Layla could see through him.
This illness can cause someone to hear voices or believe things that are not real. He started having a hard time thinking clearly and trusting people. He had trouble staying on his medication, which made things worse.
One time we were out eating, and he looked at a young lady over the next table, and he told her that she needed to go home and take care of her kids and stuff like that. He didn't even know the woman.
Donny had to go in and out of hospitals to get help. His music career began to fall apart. He could no longer perform like he used to, and he only played in small clubs. His friendship with singer Roberta Flack also suffered because his behavior became hard to handle. One day, Donny had dinner with Roberta Flack at her home. Later, he went back to his hotel room. Sadly, that same night, he fell from his 15th-floor hotel balcony. The police said no one else was there, and the door was locked from inside. They believed he took his own life. Donny was only 33 years old. His problems with mental health, his broken marriage, and his struggles with his identity were too much for him to carry. Reverend J.J Jackson led his funeral, honoring a man who was full of talent but deeply hurt inside. Next, Little Richard. Richard was molested by men in his hometown of Macon, Georgia, sometimes for money, and his father, Charles Penniman, brutally beat him for wearing his mom's clothes and makeup at age 6. His dad then kicked him out for being gay at age 15.
When you're hungry, you can sing too.
I bet.
When you're down and out, you can sing.
In his early years, Little Richard wore a red dress and called himself Princess Lymon. It was not just for laughs, it was also part of who he was.
I was so wild to even my mother used to say, "Richard, please don't do that, darling."
Later, he met another performer named Escarita, who wore wild clothes and didn't follow the rules of what men were supposed to wear. From Escarita, Richard learned more about how to dress in a bold and flashy way. In his personal life, Richard was also different from what people expected in the 1950s. He liked men, but at that time, people were very strict and didn't accept that easily. Richard used to go out with his friend, a woman named Fanny, and they would look for men together. He didn't hide this part of his life back then. Sometimes they would watch men have sex in the back seat of a car. This kind of behavior got him in trouble. He was arrested twice for being lewd, which means doing sexual things in public. After the arrests, he left his hometown, Macon, and moved away to chase his dream in music. His big break came in 1955. He was performing at a club in New Orleans. During a lunch break, he played a wild song called Tutti Frutti for his producer, Bumps Blackwell. The original song was full of energy and talked openly about gay. The words were shocking for that time. It said things like, "Tutti Frutti, good booty. If it don't fit, don't force it. You can grease it. Make it easy." But the song was changed before it was released. Even though the song was made to sound straight, Richard stayed very open about his looks. He wore capes, shiny suits, makeup, lipstick, fake eyelashes, and a high hairstyle. He looked more like a queen than a rock star. After his shows, he would have orgies. Big parties, but he liked to just watch. In 1957, Richard shocked everyone by quitting rock music. He said God had spoken to him, so he joined a Bible school in Alabama to become a preacher. But his views about being gay started to change. In 1984, he said in an interview that being gay was wrong and dangerous. In 1985, he gave a sermon and told people that he had changed. He even went on David Letterman's show and said that when he was gay, he wasn't truly a man. Now, he said, he was a real man and could enjoy with women. Letterman didn't argue. He just nodded. Years later, Richard gave very different answers about his sexuality. In 1995, he told Penthouse magazine, "I've been gay all my life." But in 2000, he told Jet magazine that it was all just an act, and he was never really gay. It was very confusing for fans. Even though he sometimes said he was no longer gay, his style and stage life always showed something else. His way of dressing, talking, and performing helped make queer behavior more visible in rock music. Little Richard helped change the idea of what a male rock star could be.
I've been seeking, I've been searching.
His makeup, his voice, and his bold personality inspired many others. Even if he tried to erase his queerness later in life, his place in history was already set. Next, Johnny Mathis. In 1982, singer Johnny Mathis spoke to Us magazine and said, "Homosexuality is a way of life that I've grown accustomed to." That was a big moment. At that time, not many celebrities talked about being gay. But after he made that statement, Johnny chose not to say more. Maybe he felt it wasn't safe. Later, the magazine took his words back and removed the statement. This caused confusion. People didn't know what to believe. For many years after that, Johnny stayed quiet about his personal life. He kept singing and working, but didn't talk about being gay again for a long time.
In 1982, this was famous, you told Us magazine, this was the quote, "Homosexuality is a way of life that I've grown accustomed to," and then that statement was retracted.
Years later, in 2014, Johnny gave an interview to Express. In that talk, he said that when he first came out, some people didn't react well. He received scary letters and even death threats. These were mostly from people in the southern states of the US. He said the threats made him stop promoting his concerts for a while. He didn't feel safe. Johnny shared that when you're young, it's hard to deal with hate like that. It scared him. Over time, though, he learned how to stay away from the hate. Now, he says it doesn't bother him at all. He feels free, and he's happy that being gay isn't a big deal anymore.
How they approached being different. It bothered me that it bothered people.
In another interview in 2022 on CBS Sunday Morning, Johnny spoke with Nancy Giles. He was 82 years old and full of energy. He said he's still a kid at heart and doesn't worry much about what others think. He said, "I come from San Francisco. It's not unusual to be gay in San Francisco." This showed he was proud of who he is and where he came from. San Francisco is known as a place where people are accepted for who they are. It made sense that Johnny felt free there. Johnny also said something special about his dad. While other people were worried that coming out would hurt his career, his dad didn't mind at all. When Johnny was about 16 or 17, he talked to his dad and said, "People are saying I'm gay." His dad replied, "Son, I'm your dad. I know these things." That support gave Johnny strength. It helped him stay confident in himself. Johnny said he always knew he could sing, and he knew there were others like him. He feels things are better now. He thanked young people for being open and accepting. He said they helped change the world. Next, Frankie Lymon.
I want you, I need you, I love you so.
Frankie Lymon was a young singer who became famous in the 1950s. He had a big voice for such a small boy, and people loved him. But behind the music and fame, Frankie had a hard life. He grew up in Harlem, a neighborhood in New York City. Even as a child, Frankie was doing things most adults would never dare to do.
Why do birds
When he was just 10 years old, he said he was helping white men find black prostitutes in Harlem. He made money by bringing these men to the women. He said in an interview that he made a good living doing this, which is shocking because he was just a kid. As Frankie got older, he became known not only for his music, but also for his relationships. He liked older women, usually women who were about 25 years old or more. This was unusual for someone so young, but it was part of who he was. Some people also wonder about Frankie's sexuality. There have been talks that he might have been gay or bisexual, but in those days, people didn't feel safe talking about that. Times were very different back then, and many people were afraid of being judged or treated badly for being different. Frankie's life started to go downhill when he got into drugs. By the time he was 15 years old, he was already using heroin. That's very young to start something so dangerous. His drug use hurt his music career and made his personal life worse.
He was missing a tooth, his skin was in bad shape, and he was forced to have lip sync. It was sad for most of his fans to witness.
In 1960, he tried to stop using drugs. He wanted to change, but it wasn't easy. He had bad people around him who didn't care about him. But one man, Bob Red Cross, who was his road manager, truly cared. Bob treated Frankie like his own son and wanted to help him get better. Even with Bob's help, Frankie kept struggling. His friends said it was sad to see him so lost. He was no longer the happy, confident boy they once knew. He would walk into offices asking for singing jobs and telling people about who he used to be. But many people just felt sorry for him. He wasn't the star anymore, just a man trying to hold on. Frankie's life was full of pain. The music world pushed him hard. He had drug problems, mental health issues, and felt alone. Because the world back then didn't accept people who were different, he may have felt even more left out. All of this led to his early death. He died very young, and many people still feel sad when they think about him. Next, Al Jarreau. Many people have wondered if singer Al Jarreau was gay or straight. Al Jarreau was famous for his smooth voice and his unique style of singing jazz, R&B, and pop. He was a talented man who made music that touched many hearts. But when it comes to his personal life, especially his sexuality, there is no clear answer. Al Jarreau never told the public if he was gay, straight, or bisexual. He kept that part of his life private. So we can't say for sure what his sexual orientation was. Sometimes fans and people on the internet like to guess or spread rumors about the private lives of famous people. In one online vote, 63% of people guessed that Al Jarreau was gay. About 22% thought he was straight, and 15% believed he might be bisexual. But these are only guesses. None of these people really know the truth. And since Al Jarreau never said anything about this topic himself, all these ideas are just rumors. We should respect that he chose to keep that part of his life private. Al Jarreau grew up in a religious family. His father was a preacher, and his mother played the piano in church.
I'm the fifth of 6 kids. My father was a vicar, he was a minister and a preacher in the church. And my mother was the church organist, so the first music that I heard was church music.
This religious background was very important to him and stayed with him all through his life. His Christian beliefs influenced his music and the way he lived. He was also connected to other spiritual groups like the Church of Scientology and the United Church of Religious Science. These groups focus on personal growth and spiritual learning. It shows that Al Jarreau cared a lot about finding peace within himself and growing as a person. In the black community, especially in the church, being gay has often been seen in a negative way. Some people who are gay feel judged or left out. This could be why Al Jarreau never talked openly about his sexuality. If he was gay or bisexual, he may have stayed quiet because he didn't want to be treated unfairly. In the end, it was his choice to keep his personal life to himself, and we should respect that choice. Next, Johnny Watson. Johnny Guitar Watson was a famous singer and guitar player. He started his music career in the 1950s and kept going strong until the 1990s. He was known for being very flashy and full of energy on stage. He wore shiny clothes, big hats, and sunglasses that made him stand out. Some people thought his bold style and behavior meant he might be gay. He never said anything about it in public. But during that time, being gay was not accepted by many. People who were gay, or thought to be gay, often had a hard time. Watson may have faced personal and work problems because of these rumors, and because society wasn't kind to people who were different. These rumors followed him for years, and even though he never confirmed or denied anything, they made his life harder. In the 1970s, music was changing. R&B and blues were starting to lose popularity. Disco and funk were becoming more popular. Johnny Watson saw this change and decided to change with it. He gave himself a new look, dressing like a character from the streets. He wore colorful suits with bell-bottoms, tall platform shoes, big gold jewelry, and hats with wide brims. He even had gold teeth and sunglasses like Elton John. Watson's songs were full of humor and clever words. He joked about love, money, and life. In songs like Superman Lover, he bragged about how good he was with women.
Locomotive, yeah.
In others, like Telephone Bill, he joked about everyday problems.
In them cars and hollers, and I picked up the envelope that contained my...
He used rhymes that made people laugh, and sometimes made radio stations nervous because of the hidden dirty jokes. But his talent and fun style made him one of the most creative artists of his time. In the past, being a black gay man in the music world was very hard. Many soul artists had to hide who they really were because people did not accept them. One example is Billy Stewart, a singer in the 1960s. He had a strong, unique voice and made hits like Summertime. People loved his music, but his personal life was full of problems. While Billy never spoke publicly about being gay, some people later said he may have struggled with his identity. He also had problems with drugs and legal trouble, which hurt his career. It's possible that hiding his true self added to his pain. Many gay men at that time felt alone and sad because they couldn't be open. It made life harder, and for some, it led to bad choices and dangerous habits. Another artist was J.J. Jackson, also from the 1960s. He was known for the hit But It's All Right. Like Billy Stewart, he never came out as gay. But some stories say he had deep personal troubles, maybe because he had to hide his sexuality. At that time, if a man was openly gay, he might be laughed at, insulted, or even lose his career. So many artists like Jackson kept everything inside. This made life very stressful. They had to keep secrets, and that kind of life can be very painful. Jimmy Scott was a singer with a soft, high voice that made people stop and listen. He started his career in the 1950s and sang for many decades. Jimmy was different from others, and many people guessed he was gay. In the early part of his career, he kept quiet about it. Only later in life did he speak more openly. Jimmy said he didn't feel safe to be himself before. This fear made him step back from fame. He didn't get the chances he deserved because people didn't understand or accept him. When someone hides who they are for years, it can deeply affect their heart and mind. Discrimination hurt them not just emotionally, but also financially. These artists had fewer chances to perform, get record deals, or grow their careers. Some were pushed out of the spotlight. They made less money, and their careers ended too soon. They didn't get the same respect or help as others. The world was unfair to them, and it cost them a lot.